If I'd known my own family would treat my hard-earned savings like a public bank, I would have built walls a long damn time ago. My name's Vince. I'm 56. I live in Caldwell, Idaho, and I've worked my whole life to not end up like the people who raised me. I grew up in a house that looked good from the outside. Big brick porch, perfect lawn, shiny sedans in the driveway. But inside, we were one bounce check away from the lights getting shut off. My dad, Paul, owned a successful car dealership. That's what he told everyone at church. Reality was, he was moving money around like a con man with 3 cups and a ball. My mom, Sherry, played the role. Hair always done, nails perfect, smile frozen in place. She called it keeping up appearances. I called it denial. They raised us on credit cards and pride. Don't show weakness. Never let anyone know you're broke. But I knew. I saw the shut-off notices in the trash, the overdraft letters, the calls that made mom slam the phone down and cry in the laundry room. My brother Wayne ate it all up. He was born James, but started calling himself Wayne in high school because he thought it sounded cooler. He was 3 years older and thought Dad hung the moon. By 17, he was leasing Rolexes and handing out gas cards like he was rich. He always had some new hustle, pyramid scheme 1 month, crypto garbage the next. Wayne got the charm, I got the calculator. I didn't want that life. After high school, I went straight into welding. Night school got me an accounting certificate. Numbers didn't lie, people did. By 50, I had my own 2-bedroom outside Boise. No mortgage, no kids, no ex-wife asking for alimony. I did the books for a solid mid-sized construction firm. It was quiet. I liked it that way. No drama, no debt. Just paychecks, balance sheets, and a freezer full of Costco steaks. Then, one Thursday afternoon, I got a group text from Mom. It lit up my phone while I was eating lunch in the break room. Family reunion! Big announcement! Check the group thread. Before we keep going, quick note, where are you listening from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I opened the thread. There was a photo of a palm tree with Key West 2025 in bold pink font. Under it, she wrote, "Let's make this the summer we reconnect and heal. Everyone's expected to attend." Expected? Something in my gut shifted. Last time I got invited to one of her healing weekends, I ended up covering Wayne's hotel bill because his Amex glitched. I set down my sandwich, wiped my hands, and stared at the screen. It had begun again. The Key West 2025 banner had barely finished loading when the replies started flooding in. Mallory, my niece, hit first. "Yes, this sounds amazing." Then Melissa, his wife, "We could really use this. Family is everything." Sure, family's everything, until the bill shows up. I didn't reply, just watched as the thread spiraled. Greg, one of my younger cousins, wrote, "Been forever since we've done a big trip. Love this energy." Mallory again, "Vince, I know how much you love deep sea fishing. We booked the premium charter for day 3. What? Then Melissa chimed in. "You've always wanted to see the coral reef, right? We added the snorkel tour." I hadn't, not once. I don't even like boats. I get sunburned walking to my mailbox. They were building a fantasy vacation around my supposed interests, which was just code for, "We made it expensive and figured you'd cover it." I scrolled through the replies again. Not one person asked who was paying for what. Not a single word about cost. Just vague praise and half-planned events. My stomach turned. I'd seen this playbook before, back in 2018 when Wayne's ex-wife volunteered to help plan a ski weekend in Lake Tahoe. She got hit with every charge from the cabin rental to the lift passes. Wayne called it a miscommunication. She called her lawyer. Mom eventually dropped a long message, like a mission statement. "This trip is about healing old wounds. Let's all lean in, support each other, and focus on making memories. I've handled the first steps. Flights, hotels, activities. We'll work out the details later." Work out the details later. Translation: we'll dump the cost on you once it's too late to say no. By Sunday night, the group chat had turned into a planning war zone. Somebody, probably Melissa, posted a Google Sheets link labeled "Itinerary Draft for Review." I opened it. 7 days in Key West. Flights from Boise, Salt Lake, Denver, and Atlanta. Hotel rooms for 8 adults and 2 kids. 3 activities booked already: the fishing charter, the reef snorkel, and a parasailing morning. Another tab was labeled Rooms. It had hotel assignments. Apparently, I was staying in the suite. It said, Vince, King Master, Ocean View, closest to balcony. I hadn't agreed to a damn thing. Another tab said, Expenses Tracker, TBD. No numbers, just rolls. Next to my name, it said, Covering travel? With a smiley face. That's when it hit me. They weren't asking, they were circling. Hey Vince, since you're in the suite, mind covering the charter too? That was Greg. Texted me privately 10 minutes later, like we were best friends. I hadn't talked to him in over a year. Melissa sent a side message too. Thank you again for offering to help out. Wayne's been so stressed with work lately. This vacation is just what he needs. Offering? I'd said nothing. Zero. Nada. I didn't answer any of them. Not the texts, not the chat. I kept quiet and waited. By Tuesday, things escalated. Mom sent out a new message. Hotel officially booked. Excited to share the full itinerary soon. Also, Vince, you'll love the dinner reservation I snagged for your birthday. I stared at the screen. My birthday's in November. This trip was in July. They were so deep in the script, they didn't even notice the details didn't line up. I clicked the new link she sent. It was a PDF, family vacation packet. Looked like a damn cruise brochure. Color-coded days, coordinated outfits, even a section on suggested attitudes. I kid you not. And still, no numbers, no cost per person, no estimated total. Just vague phrasing like, shared contributions keep the trip stress-free for everyone. I opened a fresh spreadsheet on my own, started plugging in estimates based on links they sent, average hotel rates, flight prices, charter costs. It added up fast, $6,000 per person. And no one was talking about money. That's when Mom sent a new message. Mandatory family Zoom. This Sunday at 3. We'll finalize expenses and logistics. So excited to see everyone's faces. Right, finalize, not discuss, not decide. Just wrap the noose. And they expected me to smile while they tied the knot. I called Wayne right after the Zoom invite hit. He picked up on the third ring. Sounded like he was already bracing. Hey Vince, you get Mom's invite? Yeah, I said. That's why I'm calling. What the hell's going on with this trip? He paused. Too long. Mom said you were excited. You told her you'd help out with travel. I sat up. No, I didn't. Not once. I haven't agreed to anything. Well, he said, dragging the word out like it would soften the blow. She said you were looking forward to it, that you'd take care of things, since you're good with planning. I could practically hear him shrug through the phone. That's not the same as me offering to pay for 8 people's flights, Wayne. He got quiet again. Look, man, I don't know. I'm just trying to keep things calm. She's been working hard on this. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. A second later, my phone buzzed. Melissa, just want to say thank you for handling the charter. It's such a relief not to stress about it. What? Then Greg. Hey, cousin, any chance you can swing the Airbnb since you're doing well? We'll totally Venmo you later, LOL. I didn't respond. Not to them. Not in the group chat. I went radio silent, watching. That night, I opened my notes app and typed, Flights, Wayne 200, X10. Charter, $2,000 hotel, guessing $3,000 activities. Food, already over $6,000 per person. And that was a low estimate. I scrolled back through the messages. All that praise, all that assumed generosity. They were writing checks with my name on them, like it was nothing. I texted Mom directly. Hey, who's paying for this trip? She answered fast. Don't worry about it. It's a family memory in the making. Not an answer, a deflection. I wrote again. That doesn't tell me who's footing the bill. She left me on red. 10 minutes later, she sent a photo of matching t-shirts that said, Key West Crew 2025 in neon lettering. Beneath it, surprise gift from me. Can't wait to see everyone rocking these on the pier. Gift? Yeah, right. She'd probably charge me for them later. I stared at the screen, jaw clenched. These people were sleepwalking through a scam they'd pulled before, except this time, they were aiming higher. Then came the calendar invite. Family Zoom, Sunday 3 p.m. MST, finalized travel details and expense allocations. Allocations? So now it was official. They weren't asking, they were dividing. I clicked maybe just so I wouldn't get flagged as the grump holding things up. Then I opened my bank account, just to see what kind of damage they could do if they got bold. Everything looked fine. No charges, not yet. I closed it, got up, poured a glass of water, and stared out the kitchen window. I wasn't dealing with poor planning. I was staring down a setup, and Sunday was the drop. Sunday hit, and I joined the Zoom call with my mic off and camera on. They were already mid-laugh about something when I logged in. Wayne sipping a beer, Mallory waving from some sunlit room. Mom perched in front of a vase of fake lilies like she was hosting a damn game show. "Vince, there you are," she chirped. "We were just talking about how cute those family shirts turned out." I nodded once. "Yeah, nice color." She clapped her hands. "Okay, let's dive into the fun stuff." Wayne leaned in. "Flights are mostly locked in. Airbnb is confirmed. Greg's coordinating arrival times." "Before we go too far," I said, voice flat, "what's the actual cost breakdown?" They all froze for half a second. Then Mom laughed, that high, fake one she always used to deflect. "Oh, Vince, always the accountant. Can we not nickel and dime each other to death? This is about memories." "Cool," I said, "but who's paying for what?" A beat passed. Greg fake coughed. Melissa looked down. Mallory muted herself. Mom blinked fast, then cleared her throat. "Fine. If you must know, flights are around $1,200 each. Housing was $3,000, which we're splitting across everyone staying. Then I added a $2,000 buffer for group meals and tips in emergencies. It's not a big deal." I tilted my head. "So that's, what, like $6,000 total?" She shrugged. "If you want to get technical, yes, but again, this isn't a business transaction." "Right. Still," I said, "I'll need time to review that." Wayne chimed in, trying to play peacemaker. "It's not like we're asking you to cover everything." Greg laughed awkwardly. "Not everything, just the expensive stuff." Melissa muttered something about how nice it was to finally have someone organized in the family. Mom leaned forward. "Look, Vince, if you can't afford it, you can always sit this one out." There it was, delivered with that syrupy smile, like she hadn't just taken a swing at me in front of the entire family. I didn't flinch. "Thanks for the info," I said. Then I muted myself. She kept talking like nothing happened, moving into some slideshow about restaurant options. I sat there with my jaw tight, listening to her ramble about key lime pie and seafood buffets. They thought they were slick. Slide the bill across the table, make me feel guilty for pausing, then slap me with, "If you can't afford it," like I was some broke second cousin. I watched each of their faces, Wayne pretending not to hear the tension, Melissa scrolling her phone, Greg nodding like a bobblehead. They weren't just avoiding the money talk, they were in on it. I didn't argue, I didn't explain, just stared straight into the camera and waited for the call to end. When it finally wrapped up, Mom said, "Love you all," group hug, and blew kisses to the screen. I closed my laptop, and I started preparing. Monday morning, I was at my desk, halfway through reconciling a batch of Q3 invoices, when my phone buzzed, then again, and again, and again. 4 alerts, all in under 90 seconds. American Airlines, 3,800 borrowed American Airlines. 3,800 ordered American Airlines. 3,800 ordered American Airlines. 3,800. I froze. $15,200, gone in one shot. I opened my bank app. The charges were real, pending, but definitely mine. Or, at least, they were on my card. My hands went cold. I called the bank immediately, pacing the hall outside my office. The rep picked up on the third ring. "This is Angela. How can I assist?" "I've got 4 charges on my account," I cut in. "All from American Airlines. I didn't authorize any of them." She started clicking away. "Let me pull up the transaction log. Okay, 4 separate bookings, all this morning, made through the same travel site. Can you see the passenger names?" A pause. "Yes, Paul Kramer, Sherry Kramer, Wayne Kramer, Melissa Kramer." I felt the blood drain out of my face. I hadn't booked a single damn flight. And then something worse hit me. I opened my email. The confirmation emails were sitting in my inbox, all marked red. I hadn't opened them. Someone had accessed my account. I fired off a text to Mom. "Did you use my card for flights?" Her reply came in seconds. "Thank you, sweetheart. You're so generous. This means the world to us." No apology, no, "Is that okay?" No shame, like I'd just sent them flowers instead of watching $4,000 disappear per head. I didn't respond. I launched into damage control mode. First step, dispute the charges. I walked the bank rep through it. Flag them all as unauthorized, got a claim started. Next, freeze every account tied to that card. Debit, credit, auto pay, all of it. Shut the doors before more got through. Then I changed my email passwords, then my bank logins, then everything else I could think of. Two-factor authentication across the board. They'd pulled this using saved info. Autofill I hadn't touched in months. Back at my desk, I called the airline. A guy named Kevin answered. "Hi, I need to cancel 4 flights booked this morning from Boise to Miami. Can I ask why?" "They were booked fraudulently," I said. "On my card. I've already filed a report with my bank." He hesitated. "Do you have the confirmation codes?" "I do." I rattled them off. "All 4. I heard his keyboard going a mile a minute. "Okay, these were booked through a third-party site, but I can cancel them on our end since the tickets haven't been issued yet." "Good, cancel them all. Are you requesting a refund?" "No, the bank's handling that." He paused again. "There's a note on the account, passenger intends to rebook if canceled." That stopped me. "They left a note?" I asked. "Yes, sir. All 4 passenger profiles have the same note. That rebooking is authorized." "By who?" "It doesn't say." I took a breath. "Add this to the record. If anyone tries to rebook these flights using my name, card, or email, I'll be reporting it as fraud and pressing charges. Got it?" "Yes, sir." Noted. I hung up and leaned back in my chair. $15,000. $15,000. And they didn't even try to hide it. I looked back at the text Mom sent. "You're so generous." Generous. That's what she called stealing. I wasn't generous. I was done. That night, I pulled into my driveway just past 7, headlights sweeping over the front porch, and there he was, sitting on the top step like it was still his house, arms crossed, jacket unzipped, the same half scowl he used to wear when the dealership had a bad week. My stomach dropped. I never gave him my address, which meant Mom did. He stood up as I got out of the truck. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer, just walked past him and unlocked the door. He followed me in. "Nice place," he muttered, looking around like he was inspecting drywall. I dropped my keys on the counter and didn't offer him a seat. He stayed standing. "We just wanted one nice trip, one last getaway before we all get too old to enjoy it." I looked at him. "So you stole from me?" His eyes narrowed. "Nobody stole anything. Your mother thought you were stepping up, doing something nice for once." "For once?" He waved it off. "You've always been the loner, never showed up to Christmas, never made the effort. And that justifies fraud?" He didn't flinch. "You're acting like this is some federal crime." "It is, Dad. It's credit card fraud. It's theft." He laughed, bitter and short. "After all we've done for you?" I stared at him. "Done for me? Or to me?" He didn't answer. I pulled out my phone and hit record, held it low by my side. "Did you know she was going to use my card?" He exhaled through his nose. "She mentioned you'd be taking care of it. I figured she asked you." "She didn't." He didn't even try to fake surprise. I kept my tone flat. "So you knew." He rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, last year we used Brian's card for that cabin weekend. He didn't mind." "Yeah, he did. I talked to him." Dad's face twitched. "You're overreacting." I took a step closer. "No, I'm reacting exactly how anyone would when their parents drain their account without asking." He shook his head. "It wasn't your account. It was just a card. You'll get it back." "It was $15,000. "You make good money," he snapped. "You can handle it." I raised my phone slightly. "Say that again?" He looked down and finally noticed the recording. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." That's when his face changed. He stepped in, fast, and grabbed my arm. Hard. "You report this, and you're out. Cut off. No birthdays, no holidays, no more family. You understand me?" I didn't blink. "I already did." His grip tightened, then let go just as fast. "You little—" I took a step back. "Don't finish that sentence." He stared at me, jaw tight, fists clenched like he wanted to swing but knew better. I kept the phone recording, silent, watching. Finally, he turned for the door. "Hope it was worth it," he spat. "Burning down your family over a few plane tickets." He slammed the door behind him. I stood in the middle of the room, heart hammering, arms sore. $15,000 gone. But that wasn't what stung. It was knowing they thought they were entitled to it, that they still didn't see anything wrong. and they never would, unless I made them. I pulled up to Aunt Marcia's place that Saturday afternoon, stomach tight. She lived out in Nampa, big yellow ranch-style house with fake shutters and a concrete lion by the mailbox. Felt like I was walking into a trap. There were already 6 cars in the driveway. I recognized Wayne's truck, Greg's SUV, and Mallory's dumb little convertible she couldn't afford without help from Mom. I stepped inside and got hit with a wall of forced smiles and potpourri. Mom was seated front and center in the living room, dabbing her eyes with a tissue like it was a funeral. "Vince," she said, voice trembling. "Thank you for coming. This is a safe space." I didn't respond. Just found an empty chair in the corner and sat. Aunt Marcia cleared her throat. "All right, let's start. We're here to clear the air and resolve this family misunderstanding. Sherry, go ahead." Mom looked around like she was on stage. "This all started because Vince got confused. He offered to help, then backed out and accused us of stealing. We were all under the impression he was covering travel. That was the arrangement." I cut in, calm and direct. "I never agreed to pay for anything. Not once. They used my card without asking. That's theft." There were murmurs. Marcia raised her hand. "Let's not use extreme language." "Extreme?" I said. "You think that's extreme? They charged $15,000 to my card, behind my back." Mom's face hardened. "You've always had a suspicious nature. You remember things the way you want to. I'm worried you're having memory issues." Aunt Marcia nodded, like that settled it. I didn't say a word, just pulled out my phone, tapped play, and held it up. Dad's voice filled the room. "She mentioned you'd be taking care of it. I figured she asked you. Last year we used Brian's card for that cabin weekend. He didn't mind." "You're overreacting. You make good money. You can handle it." Silence. Not one cough, not one breath. Mom's face went pale. Then Brian stood up from the far side of the room. "They did the same to me last year, cabin weekend. I never agreed to pay. They just booked it under my name and said I volunteered. I lost $3,000. Greg looked at him. "You never said anything." "I didn't want to cause drama," Brian said. "I just wrote it off. But it's a pattern. It keeps happening." Then Melissa? "They used my airline points for a Vegas trip and told me after the fact. I was short on a business flight the next week." Wayne's eyes were on the floor, quiet. Mallory, voice barely above a whisper. "They used my card once for groceries and overdrafted me, said they'd pay it back. Never did." Aunt Marcia opened her mouth to say something, but shut it again. Mom stood up. "This is a hit job. Vince, I don't know what you've said to them." Dad followed, face red. "You're poisoning this family." I leaned back. "Nah, just finally holding up a mirror." They didn't answer, just stormed out, Dad slamming the door hard enough to rattle the glass. Nobody followed. The day after the meeting, I filed a police report. Walked into the Canyon County station with a printed copy of my bank charges, the airline receipts, and the recording on a flash drive. The officer didn't blink when I said my own parents did it. "Family fraud's more common than people think," he said. "We'll log everything." Next call was to a lawyer. I found a no-nonsense firm in Boise that handled elder and financial abuse. Had a cease and desist letter drafted and mailed to both of them. Certified. Signed receipt. That's when the real game started. Mom blew up my phone. Voicemails, texts, guilt bombs every hour on the hour. I just wanted to make memories. "You're punishing us for being a family. This is what happens when people isolate too long." She even showed up at my job, brought cookies like we were still in junior high, and I'd just forgotten my lunch. My boss saw me walk her out with a stone face. He didn't ask questions. Dad came by a week later, all fake calm and heavy cologne, like he thought money could fix it. Handed me a check for $25,000. "Let's just move on," he said. "No hard feelings." I handed it back. "This isn't about feelings. It's about consequences." He stormed off without another word. Meanwhile, I locked everything down. New cards, new passwords, multi-factor logins, alerts on every account, real fraud protection, not just clicking the lock icon on a browser. I checked my credit daily, watched the dip from the airline charges slowly correct itself. Took 2 months, but it bounced back. Wayne reached out, text at first, just a "hey," then a phone call. He sounded tired, honest for once. "Look," he said, "I knew about the flight thing. I just didn't think she'd actually go through with it." "You knew," I repeated. He sighed. "Yeah, and I knew it was wrong. But every time I said something, she made me feel like the ungrateful son. I didn't know how to push back. I didn't excuse it, but I didn't hang up either. We talked for over an hour. That's when he told me he started going by James again. Said it felt like shedding old skin. A few days later, Jessica, our cousin, emailed me, said she heard what happened and wasn't surprised. They used my identity to open a Macy's card, she said. Ran it up, told me I'd authorized it. I was 19. We started comparing notes, talking through patterns. It all started lining up. Little charges, guilt trips, lies just big enough to sound real, but small enough to slip past. James looped in too. He'd been tracking things in a notebook since 2020. And for the first time, we started using the right term for it, financial abuse. A few months later, we started calling ourselves the Burned Unit. It started as a group chat between me, James, Jessica, and Brian. Then Mallory joined. Then Greg. All of us had stories. Credit pulled without consent, mysterious charges, promises to pay it back that never happened. James made a shared folder, statements, screenshots, even old voicemails from Mom asking for short-term help. It wasn't just bad behavior. It was a pattern, a blueprint. Aunt Marcia came around eventually. She called me one night, voice low like she was scared someone might hear. I didn't want to believe it, she said. But they did the same thing to me back in 2019. Took out a small business loan in my name, told me it was temporary. I didn't say I told you so. I just listened. Next thing I knew, she was hosting a family BBQ. Real quiet, just ribs, potato salad, and folding chairs in the backyard. No drama, no t-shirts, nobody talked about flights or money. Mom and Dad weren't invited. It felt weird at first, like some limb was missing. But then, halfway through dessert, James tossed me a look across the yard and said, "This feels better, right?" I nodded, because it did. We kept it going. James and I started budgeting together. Simple stuff at first. Groceries, fuel, then long-term stuff. He showed me his spreadsheets. I showed him mine. We kept each other honest. Eventually, we found a financial coach who didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. Middle-aged woman from Spokane who specialized in family boundary work. She helped us draw real lines. No more guilt, no more, but it's your mom. She also introduced me to a volunteer program that teaches high school seniors about personal finance. First time I stood in front of a room and explained how credit works, I felt something shift. Like maybe I could help someone avoid this mess before it started. Time passed. A year, give or take. Nobody mentioned Florida again. Not once. At the next family function, a birthday for one of the younger cousins, someone joked, "Guess Vince is covering the check," with that forced laugh people use when they're testing the waters. Jessica cut in sharp. "Don't even." Greg followed up. "Man already paid enough." And just like that, the joke died. That's when I knew something real had shifted, not just outside, inside me too. It's been 18 months since the blow-up. My finances are solid, my credit's strong again. No mystery charges, no late-night fraud alerts. I sleep fine now. No more checking my bank account before bed like it's going to bite me. I still don't talk to Mom or Dad, not out of spite, just clarity. I finally see them for what they are, users with wedding rings. The love was always conditional, the support came with a price tag, and I stopped paying. Wayne, or James, as he goes by now, and I meet once a month for breakfast at this little diner off the highway. Just eggs, coffee, nothing fancy. No talk about the past, no deep dives. We keep it simple, keep each other steady. Sometimes I can tell he wants to apologize again, but he doesn't, and I don't ask him to. We're better off just moving forward. I joined a men's group a few towns over. Guys like me, quiet, stable, blindsided by their own damn blood. We sit in a circle once a week and talk about things most people never say out loud. Not anger, not revenge, just reality. Stuff like how to keep your checking account locked, how to spot guilt disguised as love, how to say no without justifying it. One guy called it emotional theft, and we all nodded. That group helped me draw a real line between what I owe and what I give. Because I've learned something big, love and obligation are not the same thing. Just because someone raised you doesn't mean they own your peace. Just because someone shares your name doesn't mean they deserve your silence. I don't spend money to prove I matter anymore. I don't buy affection. and I sure as hell don't hand over my time or energy to people who drain it on purpose. Respect isn't automatic, it's earned, and if someone never gave it to you, you don't owe them a damn thing. That first credit card charge, the one that hit for $15,200, it wasn't just a flight, it was a wake-up call. And yeah, it was expensive, but it bought me the truth, and the truth was worth every penny.